Total Screen proudly presents their official podcast, OnScreen, with your hosts, Tyson Gifford and William Rohrig.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to On Screen, the official podcast of the Total Screen. My name is Tyson.
My name is Will.
And today we are going back to the Baba Yaga Effect. This time we're doing the Baba Yaga Effect spinoff, where we're going to be talking about Ballerina, the John Wick spinoff movie, as well as Sisu, which is another kind of John Wick-like in genre-wise, I guess. That's how we usually do the Baba Yaga Effect episodes of this podcast, so that's what we're doing this week. We've also got some stuff coming up on the horizon to discuss. We've got a few news stories and a few trailers to go over as well. Let's get started with our On the Horizon segment. On the Horizon is where we talk about what's coming up in the next week or so, and we're going to start things off with Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, which is coming on Thursday, February 5th to PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, and Switch, as well as Switch 2. It's coming to the OG Switch and Switch 2. But yeah, there's a demo out for that if you're interested. Next up, we have Pillion. This is the gay biker dramedy starring Alexander Skarsgård and the cousin from Harry Potter. That's coming on Friday, February 6th to theaters. Dracula, this is the Luc Besson version, who did Leon the Professional and The Fifth Element. It's his version of Dracula. Is coming on Friday, February 6th to theaters. This one stars Christoph Waltz is in this one. I think he plays Van Helsing in it.
Oh, interesting. That's a good pick for Van Helsing, actually.
Yep. That's coming on Friday, February 6th to theaters. That is it for our On the Horizon segment. Now we're going to move on to On Beat. On Beat is our news segment. We've got 2 news stories and 4 trailers to go over. First news story, and this is a bitter one for me. There's some Dispatch censorship woes on Switch and Switch 2. So Dispatch came to what's probably going to be its final 2 major platforms, Switch and Switch 2. And as I'd mentioned on this podcast before, I was super psyched for this game. I was like, oh yeah, finally. I was going to get it on PC, and then I heard it was coming to Switch 2, and I was like, okay, I'll just wait for Switch 2 version. Pre-ordered it. Apparently they hid something from everybody while people were pre-ordering the game, and that is that the Switch and Switch 2 versions of the game are censored. They didn't announce this information. People found out about it after it came out.
Yep. So, here's the thing for what I understand, and for what I was reading. There's a censored version of this game on every platform, but the other platforms have let you toggle the censorship on or off.
And that's a feature that makes sense, because, I mean, especially for, streamers, if you're gonna stream a game, then you can't have, certain things showing up in the game that are gonna cause you trouble. And they've done that with games recently, not just with, censorship, but also with, taking out licensed music and stuff, so that it doesn't play licensed music when you're doing it, so that doesn't become an issue for streamers and stuff.
Well, anyway, apparently that toggle does not exist on the Switch version.
Yeah, and they kept in that the toggle would also turn off, bad language, and they didn't do that for the Switch 2 version. I guess there is a toggle for that you can toggle on and off the bad language, but it doesn't toggle off any of the other censorship.
And apparently there's been, no comment or statement on this from Nintendo, but apparently, Ad Hoc Studio commented or responded to somebody asking about it, and they blamed Nintendo. They said, this is, Nintendo-mandated censorship.
And Nintendo hasn't done that since the fucking middle of the SNES generation?
Yeah. There have actually been some games recently, Nintendo.
There's some, stuff where they censored lines.
Yeah, Hyperdimension Neptunia games were, outright banned from releasing on Switch because of some... I haven't, looked into that very much.
But that was just, nudity and sex. I was specifically, lolly material, underage.
Yeah.
They've done the same thing with, for example, I mean, and this is just, in the US versions, but, even a Nintendo-published game. So there was the Xenoblade Chronicles X. Has a very young female character in it, and some of the outfits you could get were basically bikinis. It was for the characters, including for that character, and that was removed from the US version. It's in the Japanese version, but it was removed from the US version, including the recent definitive edition.
People are trying to, like, make sense of this. I don't know the reason. I'm not Nintendo. The best reason that I've seen put forward, and the one that makes the most sense, because we point out games like Cyberpunk have been released uncensored. Dispatch is animated. It looks like an animated series, like an adult animated series, something like Invincible. Like, it doesn't, like, look like Tiny Toons Adventures or anything. But it is animated, and people put forward because it has that animated, like, cartoon style to it. Nintendo might be, like, more wary of, oh, this might sell to parents giving this to their kids thinking it's a cartoon, and we don't, like, want the heat from parents that, like, their kids, like, saw a fucking dick in their video game cartoon. And it's just like, but that's what the rating system is for. That's what the ESRB is for.
It's still, this censored version is still TVMA, still rated M.
Yeah, it's still rated M. So, but, like, that's the only thing that I can think of that makes even, like, a modicum of sense for this. 'Cause, like, come on. You have a rating system. You have, like, a big icon on your box that says, do not give this game to kids. Do you trust people to, like, notice that, like, if people have a complaint, you can, like, that's supposed to be there, so if people complain about it, you can point that out. That we did not recommend this for your fucking 5-year-old.
Yeah.
It's not like the 80s where, like, Nintendo would potentially get heat if, like, somebody saw a boobie in their NES game. Which they would, and then they wouldn't have, like, a defense for that, because they'd be like, oh, Nintendo is selling porn to kids. And there's no way to distinguish it. Well, there is now. That's literally why they came up with the ESRB, to avoid that.
The last time we got such draconian bullshit like this, censorship-wise, from Nintendo, though, was, like I said, was the SNES with Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah, with Mortal Kombat 1, which, guess what? That fucking ruined sales of Mortal Kombat 1 on the SNES. And I remember this was a thing. This wasn't like just people online saying, like, actually at the time, even with me and my group of friends at school, it was like, oh, it was always going to be, we were going to get the Genesis version of Mortal Kombat. And that's the only version, like, I played, was on the Sega Genesis.
And guess what the SNES version of Mortal Kombat 2 had in it?
Yeah, blood.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nintendo, like, wised up on that, like, real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this feels weird to me. It also, like, you brought up the Cyberpunk thing as, like, an example. That game has full frontal nudity and pretty detailed sex scenes in it. Like, that's completely uncensored and very realistic, too. Like, some of the most realistic character models in gaming, period.
So that's why the only thing I could think of is, like, well, that looks like realistic graphics, you know? So it looks, like, very obviously adult, whereas, like, Dispatch, somebody could, like, confuse this as a cartoon for their kids. Like, that kind of, like, logic reasoning is, like, the only thing that comes close to explaining this, in my opinion.
Another example that would tie into that, though, the South Park RPGs came to Switch uncensored, and those games have some pretty fucking risque shit in them.
Yeah,
like what you'd expect from South Park, or even more than you would expect. There's a scene where you're, like, shrunken down, and you're on your parents' bed as they're having sex, and, like, you're getting smacked by, like, your dad's balls and stuff. And you see all of it. Like, it's, nothing's, like, hidden.
Oh.
There's an abortion scene in that game, in one of those games, you know, like, that you control, you play it, you perform an abortion in the game. There's, like, I just don't understand.
Oh, interesting. I just saw, like, Kit and Krista made a video on this. I'm gonna have to check that out later.
Yeah.
To get their take, because, like, they have an understanding of how, like, Nintendo of America works, or at least from when they worked there, so they would have, like, some insight of this, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm not buying that Nintendo's involved in this, because it just doesn't make sense with other things that have happened.
Yeah.
I think this is maybe like a misunderstanding, or this was done by ad hoc because they want to, like, sell more copies to, like, a younger audience or something.
Maybe?
I don't know what it is, but I think there's been so much outcry from this that my hope is that they patch that out.
Yeah, they just, like, they patched the censorship out, or restore a toggle so that you can get the uncensored version, because, like, it's
hell,
really
I wouldn't even
stupid.
care if they left the toggle uncensored by default, so that you literally had to go into the settings to turn out. I wouldn't mind that. Like, that's fine, you know?
Right. Have the option be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just really silly and stupid. As I said, I pre-ordered this game. I have a copy of it on my Switch.
I think, like,
I haven't played it.
censorship is just stupid in general.
Yeah.
It's like,
for me, it's particularly frustrating because once I realized this, I'm like, like, I really don't want to play this game on Switch 2 now, like out of principle. And some people said, well, how much do you think it's really going to affect it? I'm like, well, it's not about that. It's like about the principle. Whenever a big black bar is going to show up on screen, it's going to piss me off.
It's
and
so
it's going to
stupid.
take me out of the game.
It's so stupid. That doesn't affect it. It's like, yeah, like I could watch like fucking Die Hard on like TBS in the 90s, on cable TV, like basic cable in the 90s with that commercials and like everything censored with like fucking Bruce Willis like dubbed over to be saying yippee-ki-yay, happy cowboy. You know, like, yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's still Die Hard. You still like know the plot and you know what's happening and you watch the movie, but that absolutely it's not my preferred way to watch Die Hard.
Yeah. It's like if you're watching it on free TV, that's different than if you're buying it.
Yeah, but like it's the same principle where they're like, oh, well, the censorship is no big deal. You still got the product. It's like, yeah, but like that's an altered product. It's like, yeah, like I got the movie out of it, but like it's not the author's intent. I want to watch like the movie like uncensored. That's the way I prefer it.
Yeah, but like I said, it's not even just that, because it's not just a matter of that. It's like a matter of it's got just giant black bars over it, and that's just gonna piss me off. Like you start playing the game and a scene comes up with a giant black bar over it, it's just gonna remind you that you're playing the censored version of the game, and that's gonna piss you off. Like it's gonna piss me off. It makes it something that like I'm thinking about it, and it just like I was going like, should I just try the game anyways? And I'm like, I really don't want to, like, just like hovering the fucking cursor over the fucking tile of the game on my Switch 2, knowing that it's censored was like infuriating me and making me like angry. And I'm like, I don't want to hate play this game. I want to play this game and enjoy it, you know? And that's kind of robbed me of that. And to make it even more frustrating, Nintendo basically has a no refunds policy. So the only way you can get a refund is if you contact them through email and start up a fucking discussion with them, and then it's up to them to decide whether or not they'll give you a refund. There's no certainty of it. And some people have said like, oh, it's like Nintendo will do it as like a one-time thing. So like you can get a refund on one thing, but if something ever comes up again and you try to do it, then they'll deny you like automatically without even hearing you out. I'm like, this is in so many ways, this is like infuriating. And part of it for me is also, I want to be a part of the crowd that says, I don't want this censored bullshit, and I want it on record that I asked for a refund because that's important to me, because it pisses me off. And they've robbed me of that opportunity too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the way they went about it is like, yeah, like it's so scummy that they didn't tell anybody like about the censorship until like after like, oops, we have your money now. It's like, oh, that's great. You can't like put a disclaimer or like let people know that when you launch the pre-orders.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw like some people having, well, that's why you don't pre-order digital games. Well, first off, it's like a critically acclaimed games. Secondly, like it was on discount when they put up the digital pre-orders. So if people wanted to take advantage of like the early buyer discount, the pre-order discount.
And third, stop fucking victim blaming.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I'll tell you why I like to pre-order digital games right off the bat, with unrelated to this game specifically, but why I like to pre-order games. I like to like, when I'm budgeting out what I'm going to buy and stuff, I like to like just pre-order so I don't have to think about it. So I don't have to think about like, oh, I have to make sure I've got this much in my account, and I got to make sure that I plan for this and that or whatever. If I pre-order it, my credit card puts a hold on that money. It doesn't show up in my account anymore. I don't have to think about it anymore. It's preloaded on my system, so I don't have to think like the day the game comes out and go like, oh, I need to go and download it now. No, it downloads on its own because it's pre-ordered. Like, that's why I do that. So for somebody to say like, well, this teaches you a lesson that you shouldn't do that. It's like, no, it teaches me a lesson that either Nintendo or Ad Hoc is doing something very wrong here, is what it tells me. Like, don't blame people because the way that they do things or prefer to do things that should just work fine. You know, it's just, I don't know, it's scummy of people to try to be defending of them as well on that issue, I think.
No, I agree. The censorship is bad on its own, but like it's even worse that they didn't like tell people about it.
Yeah.
Until like after the fact.
Exactly. Like I said, I would have gotten this on PC months ago.
Yeah.
But there was heavy rumors that it was coming to Switch 2.
And to be honest, like,
2, so I said, fine, I'm just going to wait for it on Switch 2.
That part of it isn't even on Nintendo. That's the public. That's Ad Hoc.
Yeah.
Ad Hoc knew it was going to be censored and they didn't say anything.
Yeah. That's entirely on them. That's why I think this is probably all on them.
Yeah.
I don't buy what they're selling on this. Because this has not been an issue that's come up with like anything else.
Yeah, it's strange. It's very strange.
Yeah. Not happy about this at all. I'm hoping that this is resolved and patched out, and then when they do like the season 2 or whatever of Dispatch that they've talked about already, that this is just over and done with. Kind of like Mortal Kombat 2, you know? It's like just not even something that's brought up as a thought anymore. Our next news story is also related to Switch and Switch 2, also related to a very frustrating thing, but this is the rectification of that. And that is the Disney Afternoon Collection is coming to Switch and Switch 2. So this was announced like last week that it was coming.
It wasn't
a particularly big story.
No, it wasn't announced.
It was leaked.
People found an ESRB rating for it, which was the thing. So we knew it was going to be announced. It was officially announced today, this afternoon.
Yeah.
It was officially announced. The trailer was released, so we can now officially talk about it.
If it was officially announced back then, I wouldn't have brought it up as a news story. Because it wasn't that interesting. It's like, oh, okay, game ported to Switch 2. Cool.
It's more interesting than that for several reasons.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's other reasons this is interesting.
Yeah, it's like, this is a game, like, first of all, I just want to think, this was a game that originally released in the spring of 2017, just as the Switch was launching, as the Switch 1 was like a spanking brand new baby console. I think it came out the month the Switch launched, if not like a month after.
I'm not sure,
pretty
but
much around there.
I know Switch 1 came out on March 3rd of 2017. So like right at the very beginning. I don't think you could really say anything is spring before March 3rd.
In my head, it's March. April 18th, 2017. So it came out like almost a month after the Switch launched.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I get that there are development lead times and stuff. I get like expectations for the Switch were low because of the Wii U, and there may not have been a Switch version in development right away. Obviously, they weren't like anticipating. That's fine.
Yeah, but you don't have to. It wouldn't have to be day
and date. Yeah, it didn't have to be day and date. But the fact like they didn't like turn around and like announce the Switch version of this, like even after like the Switch launched big and it became like pretty obvious that the Switch was going to be more successful than the Wii U ever was.
The Switch is probably eventually going to be the best-selling console of all time. It's still selling and it's closing in rapidly on the PS2.
Oh yeah. Was absolutely wild to me because I was like thinking about, I'm gonna admit, like, I'm biased. I was hyped for the Switch. I was hyped for getting a Switch, and I saw this, I thought, oh, these games would be perfect to play on my brand new Switch.
Yeah.
And then...
You can play it portably, you can play it on your TV.
Yeah. It was like, this is perfect. And it just didn't happen. And to this day, I'm kind of like, why? Like,
yeah, because, it's one of the most nonsensical choices.
Because they're just NES, like, ROMs running in, like, a custom NES emulator. It would not have cost them, like, anything to port this to the Switch. It would have sold pretty well.
And if you were to make a Venn diagram of, like, where the audience for a game like that would be, it would be almost entirely on, like, Nintendo gamers.
Yeah,
it just makes no sense. It's like your demographic is almost exclusively on Nintendo systems.
So for a while, I was kind of like, well, you know, they'll come around. The Switch is a success. They'll come around. Like, in a year, there will be a Switch version. Well, it's 9 years. And we're now getting a Switch 2. The Switch 2 has just come out now. That's how long this has taken to reach Nintendo platforms. It's kind of silly and insane.
Yeah.
The interesting part...
It's even crazier because it's like, it initially came out right after, like a month after the original Switch. And now this is finally coming to the Switch and the Switch 2 over a year or almost a year after the Switch 2 came out. And on top of that, the Switch was an incredibly long lifespan for that console.
Yes, it was. Like I said, this is like
is almost 2 generations, yeah.
This is like 9 years coming. The other interesting part of this, too, is that the original release was published by Capcom. Obviously, like, they're all Capcom games on this collection. They're not including, like, Virgin Interactive, like, Disney games or whatever.
Like this the Genesis, Aladdin, or...
This is all Capcom developed and published games. So Capcom published this, initially developed by Digital Eclipse. Apparently, this release is being published by Atari. Digital Eclipse is still the developer. Atari actually bought Digital Eclipse several years ago. So, like, Digital Eclipse is actually under Atari now, which might be the reason why Atari is publishing this. But Capcom don't seem to, like, have any involvement in this other than, like, licensing out the assets in the game to Atari. So that's interesting.
But there's another thing that's even more interesting.
Oh yeah, there's a big thing that's even more interesting. We're getting 2 extra games on this version. So the original version was just NES games. It was DuckTales, DuckTales 2, Darkwing Duck, Chip 'n Dale, Chip 'n Dale 2, and Tailspin, all Capcom NES games. This is obviously going to include those games, but it's also going to include 2 more Capcom games, this time SNES games, Goof Troop and Bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
Which I know about Goof Troop. I don't know nothing about Bonkers on the SNES. I never played it.
I don't remember any Disney afternoon cartoon called Bonkers either.
You don't remember Bonkers?
No.
Bonkers. Yeah, totally next. Bonkers. No ifs, ands, or buts. You don't remember that?
I don't remember that. Maybe that was on the tail end of that.
It was pretty late into the Disney afternoon era, actually. It was.
Yeah, I was probably it stopped
going into it was going into the mid-90s.
Yeah, I think like the last ones I remember were like things like Gargoyles and stuff like that. I remember Gummy Bears. I remember DuckTales. I remember
Gummy Bears was like the very first one. That was actually like proto Disney afternoon because
Tailspin
wasn't actually formally a thing when Gummy Bears came out.
Yeah, and then Darkwing Duck. When Darkwing Duck came out, I was around the age where like people were starting to make fun of me for still watching it.
Oh, really? Thankfully, I wasn't that old. I enjoyed Darkwing Duck. My sister did too, more than me. She became like obsessed with it.
Yeah, but I still watched Darkwing Duck, and I still watched Gargoyles, and then I started kind of fading out after that. You know,
Gargoyles was like very much Batman the Animated Series vibes.
Yeah.
I think like Bonkers was like the last one I remember. I didn't even really like watch that show, to be honest, because it was like I was kind of like, this game pretty lame. It was like there was a Genesis version of Bonkers. I played that. I played the Genesis version. That's different than this though, so I have no idea. But Goof Troop is
when Will says different, by the way, he doesn't mean like it's like the Switch version of Witcher 3 where it's missing a lot of textures and stuff like that. It's a bad build. This is like an entirely different game. Like that's how it used to be done.
Zoomers today don't realize in the 16-bit era between the Sega Genesis and the SNES, you can have games with like the same name and the same like IP. Like you can have like Aladdin on the SNES and the Genesis, but they're not the same game or different. They're completely different games.
Yeah.
And this was like a lot of games.
Yeah.
That era. They don't do that anymore.
Made from the ground up by 2 entirely different developers that did not communicate to each other in any way.
Yes. It's like Genesis had an Aladdin game. It was by Virgin Interactive. SNES had an Aladdin game. It was by Capcom.
Yeah. The Capcom one's the one that people remember fondly now because it actually played really well. But at the time, the Genesis one was the one that was popular because it actually looked like the cartoon.
It looked like the cartoon. It had like great animation. I like the Genesis Aladdin too. It's fun. It's just different.
Wasn't that one like, the team that did that? Didn't they go on to become Naughty Dog or something?
No.
Isn't that kind of like the root of Naughty Dog? Was like the developer of that game?
I think you're thinking of Shiny.
Was it? Okay.
Shiny Entertainment. Yeah, I think you're thinking of them.
Okay. But anyways.
But yeah, it's cool. And then like Goof Troop is interesting because it's a puzzle game and it's one of the first games by Shinji Mikami, which people should know who Shinji Mikami is.
Yeah.
He's the creator of Resident Evil and he made like, he's made like all kinds of like weird and awesome and badass games.
It's crazy how you could like double jump and then do like a climax attack in
Goof Troop. Yeah. But yeah, that was like one of his early games. So that's pretty cool. So it's cool, and apparently these 2 extra games are not getting added to other versions of the Disney Afternoon Collection that already exist on our platforms. They're going to be exclusive to Switch and Switch 2 version, which is like, yeah, it sucks for people who own the games on our I empathize. At the same time, I'm kind of like, well, yeah, Switch owners waited 9 years. Also, I think the main reason for that even is because this is like a different publisher now, and they didn't publish the other versions. So I don't know even how that would work. Like if Capcom didn't license those games.
You know what they should do?
Yeah.
What they should do, in all fairness, is just release those as like digital only separate games on those platforms.
Yeah.
You know, so you can just buy like a digital copy of either one of those 2 games separately for those platforms or something.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. That's what they should do. Is it what they will do? Probably not.
Probably not. But yeah, I'm gonna get it because like I waited like 9 years for this. I didn't like wait 9 years I actually did buy it on Steam for like $5 after the Steam Deck came out. Because like, oh, finally, now I can play these games portably like I wanted to originally. Now that I have a Steam Deck, because they're never coming out on Switch, and now they are.
Well, that's it for our news stories, but we've got 4 trailers to go over. Starting off with Invincible. We got our first trailer for, what is it, season 3 of Invincible? I think this is season 4, right?
This is season 4, yeah.
Yeah, season 4 of Invincible. We got our first trailer for it. We had like a tease before, but that was like probably footage that's not even in the show. That's Invincible. They do that all the time, where they'll put out a trailer that's not even like in the show. It's just kind of like the characters talking about the fact that they're in a trailer or something. We had something like that before, but this is like an actual trailer with actual footage from the show and actually getting into the plot of the show and showing characters that we're going to be introduced to in the show. Certain major characters, certain major Viltrumite characters.
Yeah, it's going to be like the Viltrumite Wars. You're going to get like a new character voiced by Lee Pace. He's going to pretty much be a main antagonist until the end of the series.
Those who don't know, Lee Pace was the villain in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. He was also he's in, what's the show he's on Apple TV Plus? That's Foundation, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and he was in the Running Man movie, which is kind of a disappointing movie, but he
plays good villains.
Yes.
It looks exciting. I can't wait for it. I enjoyed season 3. It was a big step up from season 2, so like, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it looks good. It looks like the story's really starting to hit hard now. I think through most of season 2, it was kind of pussyfooting around a little bit. And then season 3 was kind of ramping up a bit more. And it looks like, well, now is everything that's been being ramped up to is like what's happening in season 4, basically. So it looks really exciting. A lot of characters being brought back together. Nolan's back on Earth. Like I said, we get to see the leader of the Viltrumites voiced by Lee Pace. And it just all looks exciting. It looks like it's going to be a good time. Then we got our first trailer for Masters of the Universe. So we knew this was coming, but we really didn't know much about it. We knew it was like, oh, they're doing another He-Man adaptation. Well, why?
Yeah, I was... yeah, and also, upon hearing it, I was pretty skeptical. Because I was kind of like, okay, are you going to do this? Because this is like a weird sci-fi fantasy IP where this would be difficult to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard names behind it. I was like, I don't know about this.
And Dolph Lundgren's pretty old now.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't need Dolph Lundgren to come back. But it's interesting because I was skeptical of this. And listen, like I grew up like a huge He-Man Masters of the Universe fan when I was a kid. When I was like 4 or 5 years old, 6, like I was really into like the Masters of the Universe and like getting like all the figures and everything. I had like, one of my favorite figures was actually the Prince Adam figure, just because that figure was actually not very common. There's like a million He-Man figures, but there wasn't very many figures that were just like Prince Adam. So like I had that one. I had all kinds. But then they announced there was going to be a live action movie, and I got like super excited for it. And then I watched it, and like even though like I was like 6 years old, even though like I was like 6 years old, like I knew it was crap. I watched it, I was like, this is garbage. This isn't like anything I wanted.
We got some weird movies back then.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the Garbage Pail Kids movie?
I did. That was also like, yeah, that also was garbage. But like, yeah, I think that was like the first time like I was ever like, I can remember at least, disappointed by a movie was the Dolph Lundgren Masters of the Universe.
So that must have come out before the Super Mario Brothers movie then.
Oh yeah, it came out in like 86, 87. I think it came out in 87. It came out in 87.
When did the Mario Brothers movie come out? Like 89 or something? 88?
No, Jesus, no, like early 90s.
91, something like that?
Yeah, it's like 91, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay. Weird time. Weird era for adaptations.
Yeah. Weird era for it. That's also an interesting comparison because, like I said, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, 93 Super Mario Brothers came out.
Oh, actually. Wow. That's later than I remember.
That's later than I remember, too. 93. But yeah, that's also interesting because talking about the Super Mario Bros. Animated movie was like the Mario movie I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching this trailer and it's like, this looks like the Masters of the Universe movie I wanted back in 87.
Mm-hmm.
They're
kind of taking like an isekai twist on it too.
Yeah, which I don't personally mind that. It's kind of weird. Oh, because the idea is they sent Prince Adam to Earth to grow up, to like hide him from Skeletor, and now he's grown, they're going to bring him back to Eternia. I don't mind that. As long as this movie actually takes place on Eternia, which is my biggest disappointment of the original film, was like, oh, they're running around Earth. They're not even in Eternia. Even like at 6 years old, I was like, well, this is bullshit. Where the fuck's Eternia? why are we running around with like Courtney Cox on Earth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned Skeletor. We should take this opportunity to say R.I.P. to Jared Leto, who decided that he was going to take his method acting to the ultimate level and become an actual skeleton. It's unfortunate, but, it's for the art.
Yeah, it's for the art. It's a shame, like, he passed away.
He's a very convincing Skeletor as a skeleton.
This is the part that, like, vexes me the most. Because I watched the trailer, and it looks cool. I like the joke at the beginning of the trailer where you see Adam's nameplate at his work on his desk that says he, him, which, like, Chud's got, like, super fucking offended about. It's actually...
It's funny observational comedy.
It's a funny pun. It's funny because, like, the character is He-Man.
Yeah,
So he,
exactly.
him. It's a really funny, clever joke that they put in there.
Yeah, they did a little observation about modern society and tied it back in, and
Yeah.
it's funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
Take a fucking joke, people.
Yeah, take a joke. But yeah, like, I don't know, like, how much I feel about, like, Prince Adam coming from Earth or coming back from Earth. I don't know how much I feel about, like, that part of it, but, like, the Eternia part, like, looks spot on. Like, all the characters, like, look the characters. It looks like, you got Cringer, Battle Cat, you got, like, Man-at-Arms, you got, like, Fisto. I saw Fisto in there. Evil Lynn. That's Alison Brie, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's perfect for Evil Lynn.
That's the only character I knew. That's the only actor I knew that was in this.
I think Idris Elba's in this.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, when this was first announced, the only actor name that I noticed was Alison Brie.
Oh, and Jared Leto, of course.
Yeah.
You notice that. That killed me. Why is Jared Leto in this? Why do we keep putting Jared Leto in things? Why?
He was good in Fight Club.
20.
It was only 25 years ago. 27 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
God,
it's like
I just grew a giant gray beard 27 years ago.
He has a big good in anything. Like, he's tanking franchises. Stuff bombs with him in it. They put him in Tron, and the new Tron, like, mega bombed.
Yeah. Because they did this before the new Tron came out, so.
Yeah, they did. Because, like, nobody wants to watch movies with Jared Leto in it. I'm just so upset he's Skeletor. Skeletor is, and give it to the guy who couldn't even freaking play the Joker. Oh my god. Other than that, movie looks good.
Yeah, so that's Masters of the Universe. Next, we got a trailer for Daredevil Born Again Season 2.
Yep.
I mean, it looks like a continuation of what we had in Season 1, but we got Jessica Jones. Also, people point out the plot line they're going with for this series is now it's like, unfortunately, very relevant and timely. A city under siege, drunk with power, evil dictator ruling things, putting like law enforcement doing the bidding of a thug in high power.
And high power, yep. Yeah. Taking control of a city. Yeah, it's like weird how like that just became like real life, the span of between season 1 of this show and season 2.
Yeah. Kind of an unfortunate or fortunate timing based on whatever how you plan to look at it,
Yeah, right. Oh my word!
I don't have too terribly much to say because it's a continuation of what we'd already seen. It looks good, and Jessica Jones. That's like kind of all I really have to say about that.
Yep.
Next, we got a new trailer for Super Mario Galaxy, which also has a new character that we've been waiting to see. And again, it's Jessica Jones. Can you believe Jessica Jones?
Wow, Jessica Jones. Yeah, Jessica Jones is part of Mario Galaxy.
By the way, I'm doing a rewatch on Veronica Mars and just started like season 2 and the actress popped up, and I was like, oh, it's Jessica Jones.
Oh yeah.
Pre-Jessica Jessica Jones.
Veronica Mars and Jessica Jones crossover would be fun. Those two bouncing off of each other.
Yeah.
That'd be great. This trailer was for, like, Yoshi. This was the Yoshi trailer for Super Mario Bros. Galaxy. We knew Yoshi was going to be in the sequel.
He did one thing that was teased about the movie before we even knew what the title of this movie was. Yeah. Was Yoshi.
It's interesting. There's a lot of Odyssey.
Oh, yeah.
The trailer, like, opens up, like, they're in the Sand Kingdom from Odyssey, with the Sand Kingdom people, and the big pyramid, they go in there, and that's where Mario finds Yoshi.
Yeah, like the upside-down pyramid, yeah.
Yeah, the big upside-down pyramid, yeah.
They said that. When they announced this movie, they said it's the Mario Galaxy movie, but there's going to be stuff from, like, all over the Mario franchise in this.
Oh, yeah, exactly. They're gonna, like, reference all kinds of things. They even showed the hyper-realistic T-Rex from Odyssey.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because in that scene, like, people point out, Yoshi, like, has a gun that looks like a Super Scope, which is a reference to the Super Scope game Yoshi's Safari.
Yep, there's going to
They
be loads
catch
of
that.
references. The first movie had loads of references, you know?
Yeah, there's gonna be loads of references. There was also a scene where Peach looked like she was in a casino and she was fighting Birdo, and people also noticed in that scene where she's fighting Birdo that there were several other Super Mario Brothers 2 villains in there, such as Bowser and Claw Grip, the big crab boss, like lying on his back in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like a scene where like Peach is just like going through like all the villains from Super Mario Bros. 2.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a fun, reference-filled movie. I know some people really hated that about the first movie.
I love it.
It's not going to solve that for you if
It's
you
not going
hated
to solve
it.
it. I love it. Give me all the references. I eat them up.
But that is the Super Mario Galaxy movie trailer. And now we're going to move on from our news segment to our final segment, full spoilers. This week for full spoilers, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we are doing the Baba Yaga Effect spin-off. That means we're covering Ballerina, which is a spin-off of the John Wick movies that features John Wick pretty heavily, at least in the last half, and Sisu, which is on the Roku channel right now for anybody who wants to watch it. It's a little bit harder to find, which is a movie from Finland about a guy in Eastern Europe towards the end of World War II, and it's very John Wick-like. It's like an action movie. There is a bit of a different vibe to it. Like, it kind of has like a bit of a Mad Max vibe to it, I'd say.
Yeah. These are actually like, it's interesting because other than being action films, these movies actually aren't that similar. They're like completely different.
It does have that
and
thematic
vibes.
John Wick aspect in the sense,
Yeah.
like Sisu does in the sense that like he has a history, and when they learn his history, it's like a oh fuck moment, and
Yeah. Oh,
and,
yeah.
and
It
a lot of
definitely
the
has
close-up action, like the really fast, badass close-up action stuff, which was very like a staple of John Wick. That's all there. But like
Sisu
if
is
you were to
like-
kind of like say what is Sisu like more, it would probably be more like Mad Max coded.
Yeah, it's more Mad Max coded. It definitely has that. It's definitely like more understated and serious of like a thriller vibe tone to it, where Ballerina is fully over the top, quippy action.
Ballerina's not like John Wick 1. Ballerina's
It's
like John Wick 2 through 4,
It's steeped in like this lore of the world that they were building in the John Wick films. So the John Wick films just became this world. There's like a lot of world building. Sisu is like a lot more grounded, where it's not like a lot of world building. Like it's based on like real life like events, so it's kind of like Sisu is basically like a man in Finland fighting Nazis at the end of like World War II.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. With John Wick, or Ballerina, there's all this John Wick lore of these characters, the Continental, and like the Ballerina organization, and
what do they call
organization?
What do they call the Romani group that both John Wick and Eve are from?
Yeah,
Romani's something Romani, or I don't know. But you have like that group. They introduced this like other group that we didn't know in the John Wick series. It's like this cult.
Yeah, this cult, who are the main villains of this movie. So, like, there's, like, a lot of, like, lore and stuff that you need. Like, it's over the top in, like, another way.
It's John Wick.
And also, like, I thought, like, Sisu is more brutal, too. It's more bloody. It's more gory. Yeah.
They both have great action. They both have like some really cool stunt shots and stuff.
Oh, fantastic, yeah.
Sisu's, it's funny because we talk about like story-wise and stuff, Ballerina is much more like heightened and like the kind of like the secret society and all that kind of stuff like that, But like from a perspective of the filmmaking, like it's the opposite. Like Sisu is much more heightened than Ballerina in the sense of like how it's shot and stuff.
Yes, I agree.
So it's kind of like an interesting parallel in that sense, They're opposites, but like the same, kind of.
Let's tackle these movies individually. Let's just start with Ballerina.
So you've finally seen all 4 of the John Wick movies. We watched The Continental, and now you've seen Ballerina. So you've seen all the John Wick stuff that has John Wick.
Yep. So we can't Wick any more Wick until there's more Wick.
Yep. I think there's another spin-off in development. That's basically the one that was teased in John Wick 4 at the end. Like the Kane movie,
Yeah, I heard about that.
And then there's John Wick 5's been confirmed confirmed.
Yes.
So we know there's at least 2 more John Wick movies coming.
John Wick 5, The Resurrection.
Yeah. Ballerina wasn't too successful theatrically. Either was the first John Wick. The first John Wick took a while before it built up popularity. And then it became big, and then all the sequels came and stuff. But right now it's looking like it's unlikely we're going to get a sequel to Ballerina unless it starts to kind of pick up.
Which I'm okay with. You know, like,
I'd rather kind of just see that character pop up in other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the movie was fine, but I didn't end it thinking, this isn't even my favorite John Wick movie or anything. So it's kind of like, yeah.
It's also kind of a complete story.
Yes.
And like I said, I would just prefer Eve to just pop up in John Wick 5 or in the Kane movie or something else. I like the character, and I want to see more of the character. I don't think she needs another movie of her own, you know?
Like, yeah, Anna de Armas did, like, a perfectly fine job leading the film. You know, she was good. Eve is an interesting character. All John Wick movies has good action.
Great stunts, yeah.
Great stunts. A lot of characters from John Wick come into it, like Winston and Sharon. I think this is Lance Reddick's one of his last roles.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised because I knew he was in Ballerina, but it took a while after he passed away before we even saw anything from Ballerina. He passed away like right around when John Wick 4 came out.
Yeah,
like, I think it was like the day it premiered or like within like days of when John Wick 4 came out is when he passed away. So this is his last thing he did related to John Wick, at least. I don't know if he did anything else besides that. If he was doing some voice work for video games and stuff, there might still be shit like that's coming out that's got his voice in it.
Right.
But as far as like John Wick based stuff goes, this is like the last thing he did.
And he got like
John Wick himself.
Gabriel Byrne plays the villain, the Chancellor, the leader of like this.
Good to see Gabriel Byrne again.
Yeah, Gabriel Byrne. And I forget, it's a surprise cameo by Norman Reedus, who plays like a very small role in this.
Yeah, it's like a significant but small, short amount of screen time but significant impact to the story.
Yeah, he's super important to the story because he leads Eve to like where she's basically supposed to be going. He gives her purpose for the second act of the movie, like the entire second half of the movie. It was fun. Yeah, Keanu Reeves, John Wick is in this. That's obviously...
He's in like just a few scenes in like the first half, and then in the second half he's a pretty big player in it.
He's a moderate-sized player in the second half, because he doesn't, like, really do much. He shows up, but he doesn't, like, do a lot.
It is interesting seeing him from a different perspective, though.
Yes.
Like, this isn't a John Wick movie. Like, here, he's not John Wick, he's the Baba Yaga.
Yes, because there's a part in there where he's called in to take out Eve. And so we're seeing him from Eve's perspective, and like, it's like, oh shit. And then they start fighting. It's clear because John Wick isn't like a monster, like, he doesn't like actually want to kill her. It's funny because they start fighting like Eve and John Wick, and it's very clear that Eve cannot outfight John Wick. She can't get one up on him. And he's holding back the entire time, too.
Yeah.
He's not even like, he's
trying to convince her to leave.
He's trying to convince her to leave. Yeah, he's not even going all out. He's like using half of his power, and she still can't, like, overcome him. Yeah. So that, like, shows you how bad John Wick is, because if he wanted her dead, she'd be dead.
Yeah. He's just, like, trying to teach her a lesson about rules and consequences.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like John Wick Harry Potter, and he's like Professor, you know?
Yeah, he's Professor Wick. Well, like, his appearance in the movie is cool, even though it's clearly done to drive up interest in selling the film. They put it in the trailer that he was in it. It's like, yeah, Keanu Reeves is in this. This is legit. Yeah,
unfortunately, it didn't seem to help too much. Like,
unfortunately not.
For the movie. It's just sad. Like you said, it's not my favorite John Wick movie either. I think I like all the regular John Wick movies more than it, but I still like the movie.
Yeah, I still enjoyed it. Still had fun with it.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
And I like Anna de Armas. I think she plays an interesting character. I liked Gabriel Byrne as a fantastic villain.
Yes,
and all the different roles. It was like Winston and Sharon in it was great, and Norman Reedus had like a great, like, small but impactful role, you know?
Yeah, as like, it's funny because her backstory is the cult that's like the main villains of this movie. Eve's father was like a member of that cult.
No, it's his mother.
Oh, that's right.
His father was part of that same group that John Wick was in, that she ended up being in, the Romani.
Oh, yeah.
Roma Romani, I think they call them.
He took her from them.
Yeah.
And they came for her and they killed him. And then she managed to escape and she managed to grow up.
And Winster gave her to the Roma Romani.
Yeah, the Roma Romani. And then she grew up and then she basically, she's on a job, and then she gets like attacked and she kills the men who attacked her, and like one of them has this symbol she recognized from one of the men who killed her father.
It's like X on his wrist, yeah.
Yeah, X on his wrist. And she goes looking for answers, and that leads her to Norman Reedus, and then she's actually going to kill Norman Reedus' character, but when she gets there, she finds out, like, he's in the same situation as her father was when she was a girl, because he has a young daughter as well, and he's trying to, like, take her out of that life.
Yeah,
It's the
basically,
same
direct
thing.
parallel.
Yeah, direct parallel.
Yeah. Let's talk about, you talked about that, because when we're talking about a John Wick movie, we're talking about the stunts and the action.
Yeah.
And you talked about the one scene where she got attacked and found out, oh, the person has that mark on their wrist and stuff. That was a really interesting scene because it starts after the job. She's already done this job.
She's in the car and she's taken off.
It's like an action scene in reverse. Like, she's walking away from the job and we're seeing where the action all happened. And they did a really good job of, like, laying breadcrumbs of, like, you could, like, see the action scene in your mind. Like, how it played out,
It's interesting to me, that scene, because she had already did the job. She's getting in the car and she's driving off, and the camera's panning out backwards to a wide shot as she's driving off. And that's normally the moment where, like, they tell you, well, she got away from the scene, and it cuts to the next scene where, like, whatever happens.
Cuts to another establishing shot. Yeah.
Cuts to another establishing shot. It looks like it's going to do that. And then suddenly it doesn't. It hangs, and like another car like rams right into her car, and we're right into like a new action scene.
Great stunt shot, by the way.
Yes, great stunt shot.
Yeah. It's just it's an interesting movie. There's lots of cool stuff. The flamethrower scenes were really cool.
Yeah, the flamethrower stuff.
Just the flamethrower against flamethrower stuff was cool, but then also they did like
when
the flamethrower against water.
Hose. Yes. Yeah, they had some like really interesting ideas in this.
The grenade with the steel door, like that was like really cool. Like it's a John Wick movie. It has just really cool ideas that, it's a bunch of stunt people coming up with ideas for like, how can we really make this shine? I'd actually heard that apparently there was a lot of reshoots, and it was done by Chad Stahelski, who's the director of the John Wick movies, did the reshoots.
Oh, that's cool.
The movie itself was directed by Len Wiseman. He did the Underworld movies, the vampire versus werewolf movies. That's kind of like what he's known for. But I guess there were some problems and a lot of reshoots, and it kind of makes sense, because if you watch it and you see some of the action scenes, you're like, oh yeah, this is very John Wick. Those were probably some of the reshoots that were filmed with Chad Stahelski. So yeah, it is very John Wick, because it is. It's the same guy,
So now I want to talk about Sisu. Sisu was like, I think like of the two, I think I enjoyed Sisu more.
I agree, and I'm just gonna give you this little teaser. The second movie's better.
Nice. I can't wait. I really thought it was interesting. They went with a completely silent protagonist for this.
Yeah, he had one line at the very end.
Yeah, one line at the very end. Yeah, which made sense.
Which is one line more than he has in the second movie.
But yeah, they went with the protagonist that doesn't talk, and it's very simple premise. It takes place in Finland at the end of World War II. The Finnish, they signed an agreement with the Soviets to drive the Nazis out of Finland.
Mm-hmm.
And our protagonist is a soldier who actually quit the war, stopped fighting, and went to live a quiet life on his farm. And it actually opens like he's digging and digging. He finds gold. He finds deposit of gold. He digs up like all this gold, and then like he starts this long journey to the bank, which I mean we see him get to the bank at the end of the movie. It's clearly like a long ways away. So like he gets on his horse, and like his idea is he's going to like just take this gold, and he's just going to go to the bank, and it's not around the corner. But on the way, he comes across the Nazis that are still still like roaming around Finland, destroying everything.
We should point out this is the very end of the war. The Nazis have basically lost at this point, and there's just straggling groups.
Yeah, they're straggling groups. Yeah,
this isn't like the full Nazi army. This is like an individual group.
Yeah, these are individual groups, and they're basically like roaming around, just like basically destroying everything they find.
Yeah, scorched earth.
Pretty much. Yeah, scorched earth. And he's just like going past them. He's basically trying not to pay them any mind. But of course, because they're Nazis and because they're giant assholes, they can't help but like antagonize and bother and threaten to kill this man. And he gets to a point where he's being held hostage by these Nazis, and they're like threatening to kill him. There's this dog. They're shooting at this dog, and
they discover his gold.
They discover his gold. They're going to take it, and that's a point where like he finally gets to a point where like he can't hold back anymore, and he just starts killing Nazis.
Yeah.
And then the entire movie from that
and then
point
it becomes
on,
the feel-good movie of the year.
It becomes the feel-good, the most cathartic movie of the year. Because the entire rest of the movie is this silent man just brutally killing Nazis.
So you talked about Daredevil, Born Again, the trailer being like odd that like it just happened to line up with things happening in reality. Well, maybe this is like a precursor. Can we be lucky and this be a precursor to a future reality?
Right.
Where killing Nazis is good again?
Make Nazis dead again.
Yeah, exactly. That should have been the tagline for the movie.
Yeah,
Sisu,
exactly.
Make Nazis dead again. We should also point out Sisu is not the character's name. There's a bit of text at the beginning that explains that Sisu is like a untranslatable word, basically, that basically means like iron will.
The way the movie describes it is, it's unimaginable courage in the face of like impossible odds. You know, like when all hope is lost and there's no hope of winning, you get in there and like fight anyway.
Yeah. And they do the kind of myth building with, there's a point where there's the Germans, of course they have like a bunch of like Jewish girl slaves.
Yeah.
And there's a point when they're being hunted and one of the girls is laughing and they're like, what do you think's so funny? And she said, oh, you guys are all dead. You don't even know it. And she's like, it's talking about, and they're giving like the whole mythology to this guy who's, again, his name's not Sisu, it's Atami is his name.
They basically explain he was a soldier in the Finnish army.
Nicknamed the Immortal.
Nicknamed the Immortal, because he's basically unkillable, and he was basically so brutal and effective, and what made him so dangerous is he couldn't be commanded. He said, they said the Finnish army tried to give him orders, and he'd ignore them.
Yeah.
So he couldn't be commanded. He just did what he felt.
And he's nicknamed the Immortal, but the thing they point out is that it's not that he is immortal, it's that he just refuses to die.
Yeah, he just refuses to die. And that's shown, like, there's a point where, like, they hang him, and he's hanging there for, like, quite a while, too. But he won't die, and then, like, a Nazi plane comes down and basically breaks the pole they have him hanging from, and he kind of, like, slides off of it. So he's kind of saved by, like, blind luck in that, like, case. Mm-hmm. But it's like, yeah, like, he's been on that pole for a while, and like he did not die because he refuses to die.
Yeah.
Because of the rage keeps him alive.
Yeah. And the movie gets more and more preposterous as it goes along.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it does, yeah. And there's
he's surviving all sorts of shit that he shouldn't be surviving.
Yeah, he should be surviving. Oh yeah.
Plane crashes and all sorts of shit. And it's just brutal and intense and awesome. It's like, it's that way when you're watching a John Wick movie and John Wick enters and just decimates everybody there. And that's like what you get when you watch Sisu. He just comes in and just starts taking Nazis out like left and right.
Oh yeah.
And there's some clever, like, cool stuff. The first kill he does, he just stabs the guy through the head with a knife, like through his temple.
And then there's a point where he gets to the spot and he is surrounded by like the Nazis. There's no chance for him to like he's on the ground. His horse exploded. And he's picking up like all the Yes, I was gonna say that. That was like the reveal. So the thing is like because he's in a minefield, and then he's able to use the mines to his advantage to like even though like he's got like all these Nazi soldiers that he can't possibly like fight off, normally. Even though he looks like he's done, he was able to use like the mines to his advantage to like throw up smoke and everything, and he disappears into it, and like he basically forces them to try to cross the minefield to find him.
Yeah, when he throws the mine at the one Nazi's head.
The one Nazi's head, yeah.
That was awesome. And then when they had to go across the minefield, and the one hit a mine, blew up, and the part of him that blew off landed and blew up another one. It was like ping pong physics with mines, man. It was great.
Oh, it was fantastic. I thought that movie was fantastic. Funny enough, it's shorter than Ballerina. Ballerina was 2 hours. This one was an hour and a half.
This has basically got no real story to it.
yeah, they're basically not. Yeah, the story is
badass Finnish guy kills Nazis.
Yeah, the story is basically like Nazis are around, they're fucking assholes, they antagonize the wrong guy, and they pay for it.
Yeah.
And he saves the Jewish girls, too. And there's this great scene, too, where like
the slow motion walk through the smoke.
He basically kills the driver of the van, of the truck that they're transporting all the girls in, and he gets the one main girl, basically lets her drive it, and they pull up next to the one truck full of Nazi soldiers, and all the girls have guns because he gave them guns, and they open fire on the Nazis and like kill them all right there.
Oh yeah. They're going side, but the cars are side by side. Yeah.
Yeah, the cars are side by side.
Yeah, this movie's full of great scenes. It's just a really good action movie. Like I said, there's a sequel to it, and I think the sequel's even better. It's not as easy because the enemies aren't Nazis. They're Russians in the other one. But,
okay.
It's still great. It's just a really good action movie, and they ramped up the absurdity. Like, they picked up from, like, the most absurd part of where Sisu's ending and kind of just ramped from there.
Nice.
But still kept, like, the character's still a silent protagonist, which is great. It just works. It's not cheapened by it at all. You know, you have John Wick as a man of few words and Atami is a man of no words. So, but yeah, that's Sisu. Great movie. Available to stream on the Roku channel for free with ads. Ballerina is available to stream on Starz right now. And that is it for our Baba Yaga Effect spin-off episode of this podcast. I'm with you. I think Sisu's the better movie of the two, but I love them both.
Yep.
Next week is going to be a little bit interesting. We're not exactly sure what we're going to be covering next week. There are very heavy rumors from very reliable sources that there's going to be a Nintendo Direct next week. And being the Nintendo fanboys that we are, if that's the case, that's what we're covering, to the point that we already decided that we're delaying recording the podcast from Wednesday to Thursday because the Directs tend to be either on a Wednesday or a Thursday. And we're like, okay, if it's on Thursday, let's just in advance decide we're going to record on Thursday instead so that we can cover that. So that's what we're hoping to cover next week, but this isn't announced. We don't know this for fact that there's going to be a Nintendo Direct. So just in case, we're also going to be watching the 2025 movie, The Life of Chuck, which stars Tom Hiddleston and Mark Hamill, based on a Stephen King short story done by Mike Flanagan, I believe. And that's our backup. So if there is not a Nintendo Direct next week, then we're going to be talking about The Life of Chuck, which is available to watch on Hulu. If there is a Nintendo Direct, we're going to be doing the Nintendo Direct. We're not going to do both. It's going to be one or the other. So stay tuned for that. Until then, you can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky. I'm at Tyson Gifford. You can follow Will on both those platforms. He's at Voxel Hero. You can check out our website, thetotalscreen.blogspot.com. If you go to any of our container stories for our podcast on our website, open it up and go down to the bottom paragraph, you'll find links to our SoundCloud page, our RSS feed, YouTube channel, everything. All of our social account links are all there, so you can check that out. You can also subscribe to this podcast to your favorite podcast plan of choice, like Apple Podcasts or Pocket Casts, and the entire backlog of this podcast, as well as additional content, including the 300 episode run of our old podcast, is all available on our YouTube channel, which again you can find by going to thetotalscreen.blogspot.com, opening up a container story, scrolling down to that bottom paragraph, you'll find a link there. So until next week, thank you everybody for listening. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to the OnScreen podcast, the official podcast of The Total Screen. Visit our website at thetotalscreen.com. This podcast can be found on any major podcast client, including Pocket Cast and Apple Podcast. The entire backlog of this podcast and other content can be found on our YouTube channel.